Hi everyone, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, please do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel if you think these videos are going to be helpful for you. If you're going to like this video or you're starting to like it already, please press the like button. Share it with as many people as you can. This video is going to help a lot of people in my opinion. As a constant disclaimer in all my videos, and this video being no different, I am not an attorney. Nothing that I say shall ever be construed to be legal advice or professional advice. Please do your own research every single time. This video is for information purposes only. Also, because I am based out of California, my understanding of case law, rules, and regulations do revolve around California. But if you're another state, I do appreciate all of you. I know we're getting people from New York, the East Coast, Ohio, and a lot of other states that aren't California, which is great, and I really welcome the channel. But if you're tuning from these states, keep in mind, though, that your state most likely tends to copycat or even replicate the case law rulings that are in California, and also the legal code sections as well. Obviously, a Second Amendment issue would probably not... Second Amendment issues, they're not consistent with all of America. We're still getting those infringements. So let's get on with the subject. So the other day, I talked about body cameras, on whether or not a private security officer can wear them, and I'll leave a link in the description box below. We know through that video that there's a difference between a one-party consent state and a two-party consent state. And the interesting thing about body cameras is there's an audio feature and a video feature. And most of the time when you're recording footage, you're recording audio and video. And once you record audio, the laws involving wiretapping become relevant many times in your situation. So you got to be really careful. You got to follow the federal law, and you got to follow the state law as well. Know your state, whether it's a one-party consent state, two-party consent state. Link is in the description box below. Now that we got past that, let's talk about something about body cameras. Let's talk about whether or not a police officer or law enforcement officer is able to seize your body camera footage. And also, forgive me guys, in the background I have I'm watching my kid. I have my kid running around here. So if you hear some noises, please excuse us. Okay, whether or not a police officer or law enforcement officer can seize your camera depends on what is possibly on that camera of yours. What we do know is this. Most states agree that when you seize something, absent exigent circumstances, a plain view, doctrine, probable cause, doctrine, for the most part, you need a search warrant for a lot of things that you seize. Obviously, there's all types of exemptions. With body cameras, they can contain evidence. And I'm referring to private security or even private investigators that might have body camera footage. There could be evidence on those cameras. I see a lot of security body camera channels. I got two good ones. If you're interested in following them, it's Through My Eyes. And the other one is the Security Guard Body Cam channel. Both channels are great. But sometimes even those channels, even a trespassing incident, you're capturing evidence. And you're also capturing what's called exculpatory evidence. What exculpatory evidence is, it's that type of evidence that proves a fact most likely is not true. So exculpatory evidence is really designed for the defense. So if you have any evidence that's relevant, that is able to shed doubt on the prosecutor's case, that's exculpatory evidence. And body camera footage, believe it or not, tends to have exculpatory evidence depending on the facts of the situation. Now, if you see the police on your property and you just happen to just turn on your body camera and then record them, the police cannot just show up to you and seize your camera. There's probably maybe about one state where you cannot seize cell phone footage or body camera footage if the person who owns this property, who owns this camera, is recording you. if you're a police officer. There's, I think, about one state. The case was challenged in that state's Court of Appeals. I don't remember what the specific details are, but most states, even their appellate court and even their Supreme Courts, most states generally agree that, especially California as well, that you can record law enforcement officers whenever they're performing their duties. That's part of your First Amendment right to free speech. You can record. And the police cannot go up to you and just start seizing your footage. There's actually, in California, we have a California penal code that prevents that from happening. It prevents law enforcement officers from just seizing your camera just because you're recording them doing their day-to-day activities. You absolutely cannot. Now, if there's evidence on your camera, then what the police can do is they can't just take away your camera for no reason. They can seize your camera if they have probable cause to believe that that your camera, your body camera, has evidence of a crime. They can seize it as long as they have the intent on securing a search warrant. They can't use it to harass you. Once again, they could take your body camera footage and take it for a reasonable amount of time for the purposes of securing the search warrant. They can also keep your body camera for a reasonable amount of time while an investigator, a forensic specialist, or somebody in the evidence department or investigations department abstracts the footage that's on your camera. Again, a reasonable amount of time. The phrase of reasonable amount of time is going to vary from state to state. I don't know what it is in California, but that's what the courts tend to say is they tend to use the terminology of the police can seize it for a reasonable amount of time. That can vary. I assure you, though, that in many circumstances, if the police have your body camera, and let's just say you have a password to it, and they're in the process of getting a search warrant, and they got a search warrant, it could be a very long time until you get your camera back, especially if there's a passcode to it. I've talked to some people in the forensic department not too long ago, and they told me that some phones, now this is not body cameras, but this is a cell phone, some cell phones that are password protected, they'll take years to crack the password if you don't give it to them. Now, a judge can order you to give a passcode or a password, but the problem is some people forget what the password or the passcode is. And unless the judge has probable cause to believe that you do in fact know what your passcode is and you're refusing to give it to them, then he or she can hold you in contempt of court. Some cell phones take 100 years to crack, some 50. And we don't even know if it would take 100 years because we don't have, that technology hasn't been out for 100 years yet. Okay. Also, in doing the process, your body camera could get damaged. If they have to get the soldering gun out, some wire cutters or other instruments, your body camera could get damaged in the process, and you have to put it in claim for that later. So it is hassle. Now, this is not to say that you should just at least consider handing over the body camera footage to them if they request it. You're going to have to do a balanced analysis, a balanced test. So ask yourself, does me giving the police department access to my body camera, does it benefit me as an individual security officer? Does it benefit the client? Does it benefit the private security company? One thing I forgot to mention is follow your private security company rules and regulations or your private investigator rules and regulations. You must follow those rules. Even if they say no body cameras, then, hey, no body camera at all. You follow those rules. But overall, if you hand over this footage, does it benefit anybody? Think about it. Now, in most situations, assisting the police with a crime that happened, it does benefit the property. In many, I don't want to say most, but many circumstances, because this person could return back to the property and they can reoffend. This person can also commit crimes that are nearby the area that can affect commerce for that property. So again, think again about that. Now, if you call the police and they're processing a crime scene or they're handling a call for service like a trespassing incident, I think it's a good idea to cooperate with the police. Give them the footage. If there's footage of this person trespassing, you giving them multiple times, giving multiple warnings to leave the property, because in the end, this also benefits you as a private security officer, even in a private or civil lawsuit. Quick story. So as a law enforcement officer, I went to this mall, and the private security officer was reporting a vehicle theft or vehicle burglary. There's some suspect footage on there as well. The whole crime was captured on camera. So he's reporting the incident to me. So when I asked to review the video footage, the security officer told me that he's gonna refuse to give me the footage. And I said, why? Well, that's our company policy. Okay, company policy. So you're not gonna give me the footage? You're the one that called. I'm trying to help out your company by securing evidence. I can show this footage to all of my other law enforcement partners, and maybe they saw this person. And if we could identify this person, because I don't know who this person is, maybe somebody else, some other law enforcement officer knows who this is. Maybe if we distribute it to the news sources, maybe somebody will recognize this person. But in the end, it benefits everybody. So in the end, he still refused to provide the footage, even though he's the one that called. So we also have to use some level of, I want to say, of common sense. I just have the slightest feeling that there is no company policy that says you can't release that footage. This is a brand new in-house security company, and they're barely establishing the laws. I mean, there could be something. In this case, we'll give the private security officer benefit of the doubt. But I do encourage everybody to use some level of common sense. And if you call the police, cooperate, turn over evidence to them. You guys don't refuse unless it really is a violation of company policy. If so, or if you need pre-approval, show the law enforcement officer how they can get pre-approval to help out with the case that you're also investigating. I'm just being sarcastic there, guys. Okay. Another reason to hand over the body camera footage is if the officer has probable cause to believe your camera has body camera footage and that footage has evidence, again, of a crime. If they seize the whole camera system, your body camera, they have the ability of reviewing with the approval of a search warrant, have the approval of reviewing every single video that's on it. And those of you who have worn a body camera for some time, you know that there's some embarrassing things on there. Maybe you said something about a supervisor or a coworker that you don't want them to hear. Maybe you want them to hear it. Okay, people do. They also do embarrassing things with Taser Axon. I think Los Angeles Police Department has a 20 or 30-second delay on their body camera footage. If you are using the bathroom and something happens outside the police station, you using the bathroom could potentially be on that body camera. Okay, and if you're in private security, you probably don't have a prosecutor on your side trying to prevent some of this embarrassing evidence or information to get entered into evidence, which means it's going to be shown to everybody in the courtroom. Remember, the defense has a right to exculpatory evidence. A defense attorney can make an easy point, a good point, that there's exculpatory evidence. There's likely exculpatory evidence on that body camera footage. They may be entitled to review footage that was before that incident and after the incident in question as well. That's also a very strong possibility. Now, if you cooperate with the law enforcement officer and just hand over the body camera footage, they may not be interested in everything else that's on the camera. If you just say, hey, you know what, I'll send you the footage. Can I get your email and I'll send you a link? If you just make it easy for them, then the situation might go a little bit more easier for you. Okay, you guys, law enforcement officers, they hate getting search warrants in general. If I know that you're going to just give me body camera footage of the incident and maybe potentially some exculpatory evidence, which I need to ask for, right? If you're going to give it to me, you're saving me a long time. For me, it takes me about 2 hours to secure a search warrant, sometimes 4 hours. I have to gather all the facts from reports. I need to proofread it, and I need to get a supervisor to proofread it. And then after that, I need to go over to the district attorney's office or the prosecutor's office, have them review it, make changes as appropriate, and then look for a judge that's available. And that can be very hard in many circumstances. Guys, it's a hassle to get a search warrant, but it can be done. So when a law enforcement officer knows that you're willing to give them footage, they're not going to be that much inclined to get a search warrant. Now, this is not all the time. Sometimes, for a good amount of time, they're not going to be inclined. And most law enforcement officers, they don't want to keep digging into your body camera, into the local storage of it. They don't want to keep digging into it because it's very, very, very time consuming to do that. Most law enforcement agencies don't even have the time for that. They don't have time to respond to some of the cold calls for service. They're really, really, really busy. Okay? In case you're wondering what other types of evidence might be on the camera, if you use force against somebody, that's potentially an assault or potentially battery, or maybe assault with a deadly weapon or brandishing a firearm without any type of affirmative defense. If you do that and you have your body camera on you and the officer has probable cause to believe that your camera was on during the incident in question, well, again, they can seize that body camera on you and get a search warrant if you're not giving them access to it. Okay, this could be a hassle. A lot of these body cameras, I was looking at the security guard body cam channel. He had a link on one of his videos, and his camera that he had on, it ran for about $300, maybe a little bit more than that. A lot of us can't afford to be out of a body camera for $300. I've been reading the comments from other videos. It looks like a lot of you have body cameras and that you purchase it from your pocket. Those of you who work for the larger security companies like Securitas, or organizations where there's more people, if they don't provide a body camera, it looks like many times they don't want you to have a body camera at all. I think it's maybe because of privacy reasons. They don't want the client's secrets exposed from your body camera footage, because technically if it's admitted into evidence, that body camera footage can be admitted into court because it's admitted into evidence. Sorry guys, I just lost my frame of thought. But anyhow, if it's introduced into evidence, other people like the jury can watch it. Sometimes the footage can be seen by the news and millions of other people. And again, there might be some embarrassing client privilege information in there that the client won't be too happy with. Anyhow, let me know what your thoughts are on the subject. Has the police ever asked for your body camera footage? If so, how did the process look like? Did you just send this person a link? Did they seize the whole body camera from you? I'm just really interested in knowing what's going on out there at the moment in the private security sector. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to the dialogue. You guys all be safe and take care.